Yo, so I'm back with another video for you, and in this video I'm going to be going over the 5 things that I wish that I knew before travelling to Albania, and hopefully it will allow you to decide whether you want to go to Albania or not. So without any further ado, let's get straight into this. So, tip number 1, do not fly into Albania.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
I know you're probably thinking, what do you mean do not fly into Albania? That's where I want to go, that's where I've been thinking of going. What do you mean do not fly there? Well, there is a better way to do it, okay? If you're thinking about going to either Kismil, which is where I went to, which I'll get into later on, or Sarandë, which is also down south, then if you fly into Albania via the one main airport that they have, it's going to be about a 5.5 hour drive from the airport all the way south to these nice places. So you're thinking, how else can I actually get there then? If I'm not flying into Albania, how am I going to get there? So you may or may not know already that there is a Greek island called Corfu, which is literally just off of the coast to South Albania. So what you can do is you can fly into Corfu and then you can get the ferry from Corfu. And the ferries are pretty cheap. They're about £30 per way, so £60 there and back. And also you can pick whether you want a ferry that is going to be an hour long, 50 minutes long, or do what I done and get the ferry, which is the hydrofoil ferry, and it only takes 30 minutes. 30 minutes on the water and boom, you're in Albania. How easy is that? You should definitely stick around for the last tip because I'm going to tell you exactly why I put Kismil and why you need to be careful when doing so. But number 2, the main question that everybody is interested in. How much is it? Is it expensive? Is it a cheap place? How much budget do I need to bring? What currency is it? It is cheap.
Yeah, boy.
It is definitely cheap. In comparison to other European countries, it is definitely cheap. However, there is obviously more expensive things, more expensive places that you can do and spend your money on. Same as every place in the world. If you go there and you're staying just solely in your hotel and you're not going out and doing all these activities, then of course you're going to save more money than if you go there and you're doing expensive activities every single day. However, in the grand scheme of things, it is relatively cheap. They use 2 currencies. They use the euro in most places, and then they use the Albanian lek, which is obviously their home country's money. So what I done personally, I got a load of euros out to start with when I was back in the UK, brought them with me, and then when I landed in Albania from Corfu, because Corfu is euros by the way, if you didn't know that, when I landed into Albania, then changed some of my euros into Albanian lek, just on the off chance that somewhere wasn't going to take the euros. But as I say, most popular places, most tourism places will be taking euros. And in fact, I went to the shop many times and I paid with, let's say, lek, and I got back my change, which was in euros and in lek, which was weird to see that I was getting both them sets of money back for my change sometimes. But there we go. So what is cheap? Well, the question is more, what is expensive? Because everything is slightly cheaper, but there's a few things that may be slightly more expensive. I.e., if you're going out and doing something. If you're going out and doing a quad bike excursion, which we done when we went there, then it's obviously going to be a bit more expensive. It was like 135 euros. But then again, it was a 3.5 hour quad bike excursion through the mountains with unforgettable memories going through rivers and all sorts of stuff. If you haven't seen episode 3, of the Albania trip, then go watch that because I show the quad bike trip within that. Something else that might be on the more expensive side is if you're going to a big signature beach club, for example, then obviously you're going to be paying, you know, for the bed, which I think for us it was about £50. We went to one of the more well-known beach clubs, and also the food there was slightly more expensive. For like a sushi roll, it was like 25 euros. So again, that might be a little bit more expensive, but on the grand scheme of things, it is still cheaper than most places. Transport tips. So again, if you have not seen episode 1, which I show you, I actually go there and I get a motorbike out. I get a ped, a scooter, a little 125cc scooter out on day 1 of the trip to Albania. So why do I do this? Because it is the most easiest and best way to get around in most countries, to be honest with you. You're not going to be stuck in traffic in all of the main tourist sites and all of the main towns and stuff. And it's cheap to run and it's easy. You can park anywhere. It's just easy. If you haven't got the balls, if you're too scared to get out a moped and you're still drinking your warm milk at night times, then there obviously is other options. You can get a car, but my strong recommendation would be to get a scooter. You can do this in most places, and Albania is one of them places where you will benefit from getting a scooter. It allows you to get out and about wherever you want to go. Of course, if you're out drinking, then you can't do that. But in most cases, if you're going exploring, or if you're going through the mountains, or if you're going to get to excursions like the quad biking, or to get to renting the boat out, having your own scooter there, even if you're not using it that much, I think it actually cost me €20 a day, which is like nothing in comparison to if you was constantly getting taxis everywhere anyway. So number 4, okay, when is the best time to go to Albania? Well, the best time is now. Is now before it gets overpopulated, because because the tourism in the last 2 years have already doubled in these places.
Okay.
So go now. But in terms of year, what best time to go in the year? I've only ever been there once, and I can vouch for that time. We went in the summer. We went in June. It was just before the summer holidays, so we didn't have the peak with all the kids and stuff running about. And there were still people there. It was still lively enough. There was still a lot going on. So that for me was literally an ideal time. I can't vouch for any other time, but I think any time before it gets overpopulated is perfect.
Obviously, that's the perfect scenario.
And lastly, the local culture. So there is actually a big stigma. I'm not saying this, but there's a big stigma around Albania and Albanians specifically. But actually, genuinely, hand on heart, the people there were amazing. I didn't meet one person in Albania who was sour, who was off, and they were all welcoming. There's no pushy sales. For example, if you're walking down the strip and you're going to a restaurant, for example, most other places that you go on holiday, they'll be trying to rip your arm off getting you in the door. Yeah, we've got that food, we've got this food. But there is not that. It's not that at all. You literally go there, you can look at any single menu, you can speak to people, and they are not pushing you to buy something whatsoever. Even on the beach, when you get people coming around asking if you want a massage, asking if you want to buy something like sunglasses or whatever, if you literally tell them no one time, that is it. Not going to push you, not going to hover around and really try and force them sales. And the reason that I said you must stick around to the end is because when we got back from Albania, we had two separate friends who didn't go together, who just recently got back from Albania and had the complete opposite experience. They didn't like the food, they didn't like the people, they didn't like how dirty the place was, and they had the complete opposite experience to what we had just had. But that was because they went to northern Albania. Now, if you're flying into Albania, you're probably not going to want to do a 5.5-hour car drive all the way down, which is making it more pertinent as to why we got that ferry to Sarandë from Corfu, 30 minutes, and then stayed south in Kashmir, because Kashmir is absolutely golden. The places in the north, when I spoke to people that had been there, or maybe in the rural parts of Albania, wasn't so nice. It was a complete other world. And in fact, this was proven because a lot of people, most of the people that I actually met and became friends with down in Kashmir were actually from Albania. They were just on holiday from the north or from rural Albania to Kashmir and Sarandë. So there it is. Please subscribe to the channel for more. Like the video if you liked it. Comment any sort of questions that you have whatsoever. And until next time, let's make some games. Boom. And also watch the 2 other videos, or the 3 other episodes, because I show you everything. Jet skis, renting speedboats, quad bikes, beach clubs, whatever you want. Go check it out.